In this video, I'm going to show you how to climb harder with little to no extra effort. If you have ever wondered why your gym sets the hardest move at the top, then this is the video for you. I will be going over how to fall in bouldering specifically, as falling while sport climbing is already explained elsewhere. So how can improving at falling make you a better climber, and why do most boulderers neglect it and even fewer teach it? Before I go through some demonstrations on how to train this, I would like to answer these two questions. The first question is well understood for sport climbers, but that knowledge doesn't seem to have transferred into bouldering. The more accustomed to falling you become, the less fear of falling you will experience. For this reason, it is quite common for sports climbers today to perform fall practice. Even though the fall is artificial and under controlled circumstances, it still helps to reduce the overall fear of falling, and more importantly, in my opinion, to keep you relaxed. By now, you have probably guessed the answer to why boulderers tend not to practice falling. When roped climbing, we don't land on the floor, instead the rope catches you. Conversely, dropping off a boulder problem places a lot of stress on your knees and ankles. In fact, ankles are the most common body part to injure, but the most common excuse for not dropping down are knee injuries. So to avoid injury, you avoid dropping down, but by neglecting this skill, you increase the risk of injury. Your ankles and knees become weak, and unfortunately, this isn't the only risk. You are more likely to become tense, and when you fall, and increase the risk of injury through panic and doing something like putting a hand out to break your fall. What is even worse is if you have never fallen before and forget to simply bend your knees when you hit the ground. Now that I have convinced you that practicing falling whilst bouldering is a good idea, I'm going to show you some of the techniques that I teach. These are meant to be done indoors where there are as few hazards as possible. I wouldn't recommend jumping down when outdoor bouldering, but these are good habits to learn for when you do eventually fall outdoors. So the most important thing to remember before we get started is that this matting does not guarantee your safety. Like anything else, we want to be warming up when dropping off the wall. So our first drop off the wall, we probably don't want to do it from the top of the wall. We want to build up to it. So I'll generally do a few easy climbs and then drop off from quite low down and then build my way up. And then hopefully by the time I get into projecting level, I can jump off the top and be nice and warmed up and it'll be comfortable. So I'm just going to go to here. Before you drop down, you first want to straighten your arms. This helps to reduce the stress on your muscles by relying on your skeleton instead. This in turn reduces the amount of blood required in your arms and keeps you relaxed. As we discussed earlier, remaining relaxed is important for reducing your risk of injury. Next, take your feet off the wall and hang down. This reduces the amount of movement whilst falling and stops you from pushing away from the wall, which can cause you to spin. Drop down, just getting used to the motion. And go higher. Go. Let's have a look at some different ways of coming down from the wall. Now that you have seen and understand what a good drop looks like, let's have a look at some not so good falls. Or we can push away, so this might feel more natural, but this is bad. If you have not had any instruction, then it is likely you know somebody who drops down like this. Let's break down the risks involved. So the first thing to look out for is keeping both feet on the wall and pushing away. I know that you are probably scared of hitting holds on the way down, but pushing off increases the distance you travel, increases your velocity when impacting the mat, and causes you to spin. The latter is the biggest risk. By spinning when you land, you are decreasing the effectiveness of the crash mats. You can get away with this when there are no hazards, but it is a bad habit that is likely to get you hurt at some point in the future. A chalk bag, phone or child can appear in your drop zone whilst you are climbing. Because of your increased velocity and spin, the risk of injury when you impact them is much greater. Now maybe you are no spring chicken and you are not throwing yourself off the wall but instead coming down nice and sensibly. The eagle-eyed among you will have noticed in a lot of these demonstrations I am doing something else which is increasing the risk of injury. By not bending my knees enough, I am leaning forward and relying on my hands for stability. There are several risks when doing this, some of which culminate over time if repeated every session. The most obvious risk is to your wrists and fingers. A sudden appearance of a hazard can easily lead to an awkward landing. Less obvious is the strain you place on your back. In an effort to stay upright, you place your hands out to support yourself. This is why in my demonstration I rolled onto my back. Don't strain yourself trying to stay upright. Let the mats help you. Lastly, by not bending our knees when we land, you are reducing the range of motion. Essentially, you are only training the first part of the motion and neglecting the rest, so when you do fall from the top of the wall and you need your legs to fully compress, they are more likely to fail you. Now we're trying to avoid spinning round when we're coming down, but you might think that's not practical when you're in the middle of a climb. You can't avoid spinning around. Well, actually, there is a few things you can do to avoid this. It's normally because you're off balance. If you refer to one of my other lessons on having the correct foot on the correct hold, we can either do that by swapping feet, or we can do what's called a reverse flag, and this will actually eliminate a lot of the spin as well. So these are just two of the things we can do. So I'll just give a demo. So let's pretend we're in this spot. And we want to go up with our left hand now. And if I go up, you'll see I'm spinning lots, and if I don't hold it, we have a horrible spinny fall. So here, we can swap feet. And then we're in balance. And if we miss, we're coming down in a straight line. Now maybe we can't do a foot swap, or it's in a position where that's not a good idea, so we can do a reverse flag. We go here, got a reverse flag, there we go, and then slip. It's not so bad. In conclusion, I will tell you what I tell everybody. Falling is a skill, treat it like a skill. If you want to improve and get stronger at it, practice it. If you avoid it, don't be surprised when things go wrong. If you found this video helpful, please check out this one and like and subscribe to keep up to date.